New board member orientation for the Franklin County Board of Realtors, a nonprofit board. 1. The legal authority and responsibility of board members. The board of directors of a nonprofit corporation has full and final authority over the affairs of the organization. Board members have authority only as a body and not individually. Board members have a fiduciary duty to the organization that encompasses the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty of obedience. The board must have and follow a good conflict of interest policy. 2. The proper role of the board. The board and board members shall not micromanage the affairs of the organization. To do so is to leave the board table and take on the role of management. SOP, or Standard Operating Procedure, is an acronym that can also be used as a reminder of the key areas of proper board action in a well-governed organization: strategy, oversight, and policy. Strategy. The board is responsible for establishing the general strategy of the organization, what it seeks to accomplish, its mission, purpose, and objectives. Strategy also includes mapping out the financial plan, budget, for carrying out the organization's mission. The strategy element of a board's role also includes ensuring that the organization is led by an effective association executive capable of carrying out the organization's mission and purposes. It is often said that the single most important role of the nonprofit board is the hiring and oversight of the association executive. Oversight. Ensuring adherence to the mission and purpose while avoiding mission drift. Evaluate the effectiveness with which the organization is carrying out its mission and purpose. Evaluate the performance of, establishing the compensation of, and encouraging the association executive. Evaluate compliance with the organization's governing documents and with applicable laws and regulations. Evaluate the funding and financial conditions of the organization, ensuring that the organization maintains adequate risk management. Policy. Policy refers to every element of board-approved guidance, including but not limited to the mission or purpose statement, articles of incorporation, bylaws, and board-approved policies. Occasionally, the line between the proper role of the board and improper micromanagement may become a bit blurred, and such situations must be handled with care. Expectations of board members with respect to fundraising activities should be defined clearly. An organization's board cannot shrink its legal responsibility and become simply a fundraising board that does not have oversight responsibility for the organization. 3. Board committees. The board should have a conceptual framework for determining if and when board committees are needed. A board committee is not an operations group. Its activities should be limited to addressing strategy, oversight, and policy issues. Every board committee should have a clear charter. Organizations should take a zero-based approach to establishing board committees, starting with the premise that no board committees are needed and establishing committees only where the need is clearly identified and justified. Ad hoc committees may be used to perform detailed work and provide recommendations to the full board. 4. The board's role in risk management. An effective risk management plan is a holistic one. The Board of Risk Management Committee should work with the association executive to ensure that risks are identified, assessed, prioritized, and adequately mitigated. The organization should engage experts in various disciplines to assist as needed. Adequate insurance coverage is a critical element of risk management. 5. The board's role in financial matters. The board must maintain appropriate oversight over the organization's financial affairs, either directly or through a committee. Ensure the board's financial condition is sound and that it has the financial capacity to conduct its programs and activities as intended. The board must adopt and monitor compliance with appropriate financial policies in conformity with the organization's governing documents. Approve and monitor compliance with the operating budget and capital expenditures budget for the year. Ensure the board has proper and adequate internal controls over financial operating activities. Ensure an independent audit is done annually by a CPA firm highly experienced in serving nonprofit organizations. And approving the staff compensation package following federal tax guidelines under the advice of good tax counsel. 6. Governing and policy documents. Well-governed organizations operate pursuant to a hierarchy of governing and policy documents with each board member should be familiar. If a conflict exists between documents in the hierarchy, the higher level document trumps. It is essential to distinguish between board-approved policies and management-approved procedures. The board should ensure that highly competent legal counsel reviews all of the organization's governing and policy documents. Every board member should read and be familiar with the organization's articles of incorporation, bylaws, and policies. 7. The liability of board members. With a combination of acting in good faith, proactively engaging legal counsel, maintaining an appropriate risk management strategy, availing itself of civil immunity provisions that may exist under state law, providing in the bylaws for indemnification by the organization, and maintaining adequate director and officer coverage, the nonprofit board should be comfortable with its overall risk level. It is actually quite rare for board members themselves to be sued in their individual capacities or held liable for damages in connection with their service on nonprofit boards. 8. Understanding, evaluating, and protecting the mission. Every nonprofit organization should have a clear statement describing its mission or purpose. The board must own the organization's mission. A key responsibility of the board is to evaluate the effectiveness with which the mission is being carried out and to hold the executive accountable. Protecting the mission of the organization requires discipline and focus and can at times be unpleasant. Boards that wish to preserve an organization's original mission should take affirmative steps to do so, while the board is composed of members who support the idea. 9. Board meeting dynamics. As long as the proper business of the board is carried out in a manner that conforms to the organization's governing and policy documents, the degree of formality with which the meetings are conducted is of little relevance. Board members should plan to attend every board meeting of the organization. The board president has the single most important role in defining the dynamic of a board meeting. There is no room for ignoring issues that require board attention, no matter how difficult, uncomfortable, or contentious they may be. The board should maintain and enforce a policy of confidentiality regarding matters coming to its attention. And board members can foster a positive environment if they encourage the association executive and their fellow board members by genuinely recognizing the efforts that are put into developing proposals and their positive attributes, whether they are ultimately approved or not. Here are 10 quick ways to improve board meetings. Post an acronym chart so everyone understands what we're talking about. Write an anticipated action for each agenda item. Make sure that each person says at least one thing in every board meeting. No one-way communication from staff. Don't include committee reports on the agenda just to make the committee feel worthwhile. Not to the board and as executive, what are the 2 most important matters facing the organization? Could it be an economic downturn, changes in funding, vacancy rates, a poor image? Is one of these matters on every board agenda? Encourage dumb questions, respectful dissent, and authentic disagreements. Make sure the room is comfortable. Adjourn on time or agree to stay later. And make sure everyone knows everyone else. It's embarrassing to have seen people at several meetings and wonder what their name is. Thank you for attending new board member orientation.